guidance on mask wearing? Is it time to bring it back inside, especially in those 5 counties considered high risk? Where do you stand?
We just got it and we're reviewing it, and we'll have more to say about it later.
Are you considering bringing back a mask mandate in Massachusetts? Is that on the table?
We just got the guidance. We're taking a look at it, and we'll get back to you on it later.
So, Governor, what goes into that? Can you give us a glimpse into those discussions and what you're weighing, what will go into that decision?
Well, remember, the federal government makes decisions and issues guidance for the country, right? Massachusetts is in a very different place than the rest of the country. We have the second lowest hospitalization rate for COVID in the United States. We've had the second lowest hospitalization rate for weeks. We have the second highest vaccination rate. We actually are behind Vermont in both of those cases. We're certainly number one in terms of both our hospitalization rate and our vaccination rate among the big states. And those things factor into how we make these decisions, and they should, because the vaccines work.
What would be your message to folks who are hearing this message from the federal government? Other governors in northeastern states are coming out and already discussing what their positions are. What would be your message to the residents of Massachusetts and potentially visitors?
Well, first of all, Massachusetts, as I said, has the lowest hospitalization rate for COVID of any big state in the country. The only one that's got a lower rate is Vermont. We have one of the lowest spreads of any state in the country if you measure cases per 100,000 population. And we have the second highest vaccination rate in the country when it comes to COVID vaccinations. Massachusetts is in a much better position than the vast majority of the states in this country with respect to how we deal with and how we're prepared to deal with COVID. That would be my message to almost anybody, including people traveling here.
So, Governor, considering those numbers you just told us, it sounds like you're not inclined to impose or reimpose the mask mandate at this point?
We're looking at the CDC guidance. We have a lot of experts in this community. They have many different opinions on this stuff. And we're talking to many of them, and we'll be back to folks shortly. Look, I don't think anybody should make a decision based on any guidance of any kind without first processing it a bit and figuring out what makes the most sense for our particular state.
Governor, this is the height of the tourist season in Massachusetts right now. We saw what happened in Provincetown. Are you considering maybe reinstituting any travel restrictions for people coming from those states?
I'm not considering instituting any travel restrictions.
Governor, 200 of those experts you mentioned signed a letter saying we need to mandate masks for schools, especially under 12, until a vaccine is available. Your stance on that, still considering?
Considering.
Are you worried that it may get to that point where you have to start reinstituting restrictions?
I think the most important thing we should all do is read the CDC guidance, look for them to provide us with information and data that supports the recommendations, discuss what it means to be a state like this one versus some of the other states that they have to worry about. They have 50 states they need to consider when they make these decisions. Talk to some of the experts in our community, and I would argue that there are many different opinions in Massachusetts among the experts about what the right things to do with respect to this issue are. And I would say that from the beginning, there have been a multiple collection of opinions on practically everything associated with COVID among the experts. People tend to find the expert they agree with, and that's the one they listen to, or the group of experts they agree with, and that's the one they listen to. I like to listen to all of them. And many of them, in many cases, have not just slightly different points of view, but contrary points of view. It depends to some extent on what you consider to be the most important measure. And it also depends a little bit on how good you think your data is and what kinds of messages you're getting from other people you're talking to about some of this stuff. We'll have something to say, but we're going to process this. This is a big decision.
Governor, you're going to sign this up budget, and do you have any concerns about the voting language?
That's a good question. Are we dealing with that tomorrow? No, we're talking about it tonight.
We have a meeting
Yeah,
today.
we're talking about it tonight.
Do you have any concerns about the voting language?
I have not talked to the folks on our legal team about it, but we obviously know we need to make a decision soon. We're talking to them about it tonight.
Are you
Thanks,
yourself
everybody.
starting to behave differently with the rise of Delta?
No.
Thanks, guys.
Governor, different topic. There's a bill before the legislature that would allow first responders to get death benefits if they died from COVID. Do you have a position on that? Is that something you considered?
We normally don't talk about or take positions on legislation that's pending unless it's ours. And part of the reason for that is sometimes it tends to change as it works its way through the process. That's not a bill I'm familiar with. Has it had a hearing?
I don't know.
Okay.
Governor, have you spoken with the Vax Millions winner?
No.
Not me.
You need my number?
I thought it was me. Oh, that's right. It was
I
the
don't think
dam.
elected officials are allowed to win.
It doesn't
are
matter.
they?
I already got it. I got the dam.
But we're planning to make that announcement tomorrow.
Thanks, guys.
One last question, just with the rise in the cases of COVID, what are your thoughts, your plans about keeping students and staff safe this year to go to school year?
That's exactly what we're going to review with respect to the CDC guidance. And the one thing I would say about cases, and this is not just true here, it's true in other parts of the world as well. The more vaccines you have, the higher your vaccinated population is, the less likely you are to see significant increases in your hospitalization rates when you have increases in cases. And that's certainly true here in Massachusetts as well. And like I said, we'll have more to say on this shortly. Thank you.